Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Heat K of the 2006 Fighting Robots UK Heavyweight Championships, hosted by Roaming Robots. There are just 2 places left in the knockout rounds, and tonight 4 machines will be battling out for one of those places. You know what I'm going to say, I've said it plenty of times already, let's meet the teams competing. Our standout machine tonight is seed number 7, Big Nipper, back again, hoping to do better than they did in 2004 when they finished in 3rd place. Standing in their way in Heat K is Weird Alice 2, the Belgian machine Hades, and the Axe Bot of Edgehog. First up for Big Nipper is a fight against Edgehog. Let's meet the teams before we start robot rumbling.
My name's Dan, and this is my robot Edgehog, and I'm hoping to do really well.
So straight in with the action, it's Big Nipper in underneath Edgehog here, and shoving Edgehog towards the pit in full control, and Edgehog in the pit. Well, not much to show here of this fight, just the highlighted clips. Big Nipper in underneath, and we can sort of fill in the blanks ourselves, can't we really? If they're getting underneath that easily, there's no wonder that Edgehog eventually ends being tipped and pushed into the pit of oblivion. A fairly easy win for our seeds here. An early win for our seeds here over Edgehog. Our next fight is Weird Alice 2 against Hades.
Hello, we're Team Weird Alice. Ian Humphrey, Mark Conduff, Steve Catchpole, and this is Weird Alice, our robot. It's got a full pressure flipper on it and some very dangerous paintwork that is probably the most lethal thing we've got going for us.
So once again straight in with the action as the day-glow Weird Alice is thrown over by Hades, who's rocking and rolling robots all over the place. What a flipping fantastic battle, but it looks like Hades has broken down here, this Belgian machine, and Weird Alice is going to pick up the win. Well, it was just highlighted clips once again, so we're going to quickly go through those highlights. Huge flip to start with. What a piece of action this was, as Hades self-rights so high that they go bouncing all over Weird Alice. But then as we transition to the next clip, Weird Alice has got Hades here with their flipper stuck open, and Hades to me looks immobilized and out of this fight. Yeah, you can flip all you want, guys, but your drive wheels aren't moving. So we'll just wait for that result to come through, and I was correct. It was Hades losing out there to Weird Alice 2. A battle at the top of the leaderboard next, as Big Nipper takes on Weird Alice. We are once again straight into the action with Big Nipper in underneath Weird Alice, using those claws. Something's just fallen off the bottom of Weird Alice there, who looks like they're in all sorts of trouble. Big Nipper just so low to the arena floor there as it rock and rolls the day-glow machine over, who've self-righted now, but Big Nipper have got a pinch and a pull and a tug and a push, and surely Weird Alice are going to be weird at the bottom of the pit all by themselves. If Big Nipper can actually get them in, come on guys. They're pushing, they're pulling, they're teetering, they're tottering. Come on, finish them off. Yes, into the pit. Let's look at the highlights, and once again it was very similar to the Edgehog match for Big Nipper. Underneath with ease. I don't think Weird Alice laid a glove on Big Nipper. Something fell off there. Can you see at the bottom? Lying on the arena floor. Scooped in underneath. And a roly-poly for Weird Alice 2 as Big Nipper dominated this fight. They self-righted. Immediately into the jaws of Big Nipper, who push and pull them around the arena. Perfect size for their jaws, our Big Nipper. And a little bit of difficulty getting them unhooked. But I think we knew at this point that the victory was elemental, my dear Watson. I'm just taunting them at this point. The flick of the flipper and into the pit. Big Nipper 2 for 2 and looking odds on to go through to the knockout round. Next up, it's a battle of catch-up as Edgehog takes on Hades. Straight into the action, and Edgehog being rolled over here onto its back, trying to use the axe to self-right. Hades happy to just watch and throw Edgehog out the arena. Well, it was as simple as that. I assume there was a flip beforehand that put Edgehog onto its back. The axe fired from Edgehog as it tries to self-right. Have you ever seen a hedgehog on its back? It doesn't end particularly well for the hedgehog, and it didn't end very well for the Edgehog as it was thrown over the edge. Hades have set themselves up here for a fight against Big Nipper where they could draw level. Let's see how this big fight goes down. Hades in underneath Big Nipper and already flipping them. The Seeds in the most trouble they've been all heat, and they're thrown out the arena. Hades with the win. Wow, look at that. The flip from Hades on Big Nipper, throwing them over. And then they slid straight underneath the Seeds, who've had no trouble this heat at all, and launched them out the arena. They are level on points. So Hades on 2 wins, Big Nipper on 2 wins. Can Weird Alice 2 join them on 2 wins as they take on Edgehog? Not the best start here for Weird Alice as they're under the cosh here from Edgehog, who have got a point to prove and some pride to win after their first 2 losses. And it looks like Weird Alice is looking a little bit sluggish now. The repeated axe blows from Edgehog. Weird Alice can't get in underneath Edgehog to flip them over. Here's a replay of the action, bits and pieces coming off Weird Alice. Weird Alice, I thought at this point, looked a lot more sluggish. And Edgehog, who had a bit of a duff run at the start of the heats, trying and basically showing now that quality we knew they had deep down. Pepper potting Weird Alice, and I think winning. So Edgehog restoring a little bit of pride here with the win over Weird Alice 2. Hades and Big Nipper are the only 2 machines tied, so they will have a heat final playoff here in Heat K. The winner going through to the knockout round. How exciting. Let's get this fight underway.
3, 2, 1, activate!
The big flipper of Hades, who has thrown 2 machines out of the arena, against the pit expert of Big Nipper, who slid underneath their opponents and shoved them down the pit. Both of these machines would be worthy of going through to the knockout rounds, and it's Big Nipper on top early on who have thrown the Belgian Hades over onto its back, and they've rested on just their side in a position where Hades are struggling to self-right, but they have done so now. But in comes Big Nipper, seed number 7 for these championships, finished 3rd in 2004. They've got the pedigree here over Hades, but that doesn't mean anything in robot combat, as Hades, you think with one flip, could throw Big Nipper out like they did earlier on in the heat. But Big Nipper, you can see using those forks to slide underneath every single time so far. They're underneath now again, but they just can't seem to lift the big bulky Hades, who now they've got underneath, and pushing them towards the arena wall. Hades once again resting in a position they really don't want to rest in. That sort of side panel at the top side means that Hades can't really self-right. What a tenacious little heat final this has been. Big Nipper in underneath again, trying to hold and pin Hades. You can only pin a robot for a certain amount of time, and the clock is ticking down here. Now, is it a countdown to elimination, or is it a countdown to a judge's decision? I think it's a countdown to elimination. I think Hades are stuck. Let's look at the highlights of this battle. Big Nipper, I think, got underneath Hades time and time again. They controlled this fight from start to finish. When Hades got stuck on its side like that, I thought it was game over. You can see here they struggle to self-right. That does not look good in the eyes of the judges as they try again, this time with some success. But you can see every time Hades was running towards, in the previous fight they got underneath and threw the 7th seeds out. But this time they just struggled every single time. A roly-poly into the corner from Big Nipper, and Hades never really recovered from this attack. Yeah, sure, they fired the flipper, they self-righted, but Big Nipper was on top of them time and time again. And maneuverability, I think, at that point was not in a particularly optimal place for Hades. And I think they were immobilized. Judge's decision or immobilization, either way, Big Nipper have won this fight. I think it's plain to see from all of us watching at home. And the judge's decision is in, and it's Big Nipper munching their way onto the quarterfinals. Thank you so much for watching another episode of the 2006 Fighting Robots UK Heavyweight Championship. This one was a lot of fun, mainly highlighted fights, but still lots of action to commentate over. We will see you next week for more fun, frolics and robot fighting destruction. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe just to keep the engagement going and for you to be able to see what's coming next on this channel. Have a lovely rest of your evening, day, afternoon, whatever you're currently doing, or whatever time you're watching this. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.